Hola, cage fighting connoisseurs. This is KidNativeBloodyElbow.com, joined once again by John S. Nash, who is not, sadly, Eugene S. Robinson, but he does the best he can, as will I. We're here for the Care Don't Care preview for UFC 220, and I'm informed Bellator 192 Rampage versus Sonnen, not Lima versus McDonald. So don't even try calling it that. John, can you do the disclaimer that Eugene usually does, or a disclaimer?
Yes, I got it. Listen, you fuckers, you screwheads. Here is a man.
Already cursing. Already with the language.
I'm sorry. That's the wrong one too. That's Travis Bickle. But anyways, well, let's see if I get it right. Crybabies, bedwetters, grumblers, complainers, work-shy individuals, greedy bread gobblers. This has less to do with your skills and talents as a fighter or as a human being, and more to do with the efforts of Endeavor and Dana White into what they put into promoting you. If you don't like what we say, don't come crying to us later, you bedwetters.
There we go. Reasonably mediocre, and that's all we can ask.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 fight cards, so we'll have to cut way back on the tales of brawls that Eugene won and amazing sex exploits Eugene had and golf games he had with Donna Shalala. He told me he was going to tell the whole story of the time he played golf with Donna Shalala today, but then he flaked at the last minute. So that's on him. Remember, if you're angry about it, tweet at Eugene S. Robinson. So first, Bellator 192 happening on the Paramount Network, formerly known as Spike, right at the same time as the UFC card.
Yes. Did you see the Spike tweets the other day?
I saw them tweeting Mexico.
Yeah, that was the only good one, actually, I thought. But
what does that mean?
I don't. Well, that was Bjorn Rebney's famous last tweet when he left Bellator. And for
was
like
it?
That set up as the only tweet he had for a couple of years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That Bjorn.
Well, good times.
I wonder if that's what he said when, I wonder if that's what people heard allegedly when the dog had a spike driven through its head. But anyway, so we're going to ignore the main card because
we're ignoring the undercard. The prelims.
Yeah, prelims. We're going to ignore the prelims. We're going to talk about the main card. We've got 5 fights, starting with featherweight Aaron Pico versus Shane Crookton.
I don't know if I care. I kind of care about Pico. I mean, he's a big prospect. I guess I care because he's a huge prospect.
Yeah, he's a legit wrestler, right? Amateur wrestler.
But he's also at the point, he's not really far enough in his career yet for me to really care. I mean, how much do you really care about development fights? In boxing, you'd be, if this was Mayweather's 5th boxing match, you'd be like, well, who cares? He's fighting the guy he should beat. But I care enough, I guess. There's not much else going on this weekend, so I care.
Yeah, you care. I don't care. Kid's 1-1. I mean, if he loses again, that's bad. And could totally derail him. But he got guillotine choke in his first fight. I guess I care because of the future. Because the children are our future.
Damn it, I was hoping you did. I was trying to sucker into you not caring.
No.
I got a pretty easy win because I'm sure he's going to win. That's all.
I mean, I hope so. But he, he fell into a guillotine in his first fight and could easily fuck up again. So we both care, and we're both picking Pico. Is that correct?
Yeah. So, damn it.
Eugene would be calling him Pico de Gallo, right?
Oh, I should point out, I did beat Eugene last week.
Oh, yeah? Nobody cares.
No, well, I do. Obviously I care. Keeping track of this.
See, I don't even remember this stuff. I've discovered I've forgotten entire years of my life, but
I'm the same. Everybody's talking about their childhood and stuff. Hey, do you remember when this happened? I have no, I don't even
My childhood I remember pretty well. That's before I discovered a little thing. Yeah. But anyway, personal hobbies aside, now we've got featherweight Georgi Kakanyan versus Henry Corrales.
I don't care.
Yeah, I mean,
I've seen Georgie fight. He's all right, but it's a journeyman. He's the middle tier of Bellator.
Yeah, this isn't going anywhere. I mean, he did knock out Bubba Jenkins, but So yeah, now that's a don't care here. All right, now we've got lightweight Goti Yamauchi versus Michael Chandler, former champ.
I actually care. I care about that.
Yeah, I like Chandler a lot. I think if he were in the UFC, he'd be doing quite well. So this is a legit talent. I don't know jack shit about Goti Yamauchi.
Really? I mean, I know the name. Let's put it that way. But I'm not. He's fought in Bellator a couple times. I know that. He beat. I remember him beating Ryan Couture. That's the biggest name he probably beat. He's got a few wins. But I haven't really seen. I mean, I don't see all of his fights, but I know who it is.
Yeah, I remember him losing to Bubba Jenkins.
Yeah, let's put it. He's not a loser. He's a respectable fighter, but he's nowhere.
I mean, I wouldn't call anybody doing that.
He's a legitimate pro fighter. He's a legitimate pro fighter.
And he's not Shannon the Cannon Rich.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, that's false. Very few are.
And I wouldn't call him a loser either. I would call him a legend. But yeah. So so we don't care about this one. Oh no, we do care, and we're picking Chandler.
It's Chandler coming back from an injury. I think that what I care mostly, it's Chandler coming back from that injury from his leg. And see how he looks.
Yeah, we'll see.
And I'm picking Chandler.
He break his ankle or something?
Remember, I don't know what he did. His whole leg gave out, and he fell off they pulled the stool off from under him. That was awesome. And the
pay-per-view. And then he fell. That was the kind of thing back when MMA had fans that people would have been talking about for quite a bit of time. But
yeah, you're right. That would have been a meme and stuff from the on the UG for like 5 months straight.
Yeah, I blame. You know what I blame? I blame millennials, because when Gen X or the young people and we're the fans of the sport, we cared and we memed it, and then millennials come along and they just look in their phones. They can't even create memes on the phones. All right, so now we've got the welterweight title fight. Should have been the headliner, except nobody cares about either of these guys. Douglas Lima and Rory McDonald. I mean, I care.
Oh, you
care.
This is arguably the best fight of the weekend. I think it's the second best, but I think it's up there.
What are you putting ahead of it, though? The heavyweight title fight in the UFC?
Yeah, I think the heavyweight fight, just because you got two guys that can knock the shit out of each other.
Well, I think we'll get to that, but I think that is a good fight. But both of these guys are UFC caliber fighters, world-class fighters.
UFC.
And yeah, this should be a good fight. Now we get to the interesting part. Who are you picking?
This is a hard one. First of all, I did you see the little clip I think Zombie Prophet did, where he took Rory McDonald talking about why he likes to fight and put underneath just the Netflix, I think it's like Confessions of a Serial Killer. It's like Rory McDonald talking about how much he likes to torture people and stuff and hurt them. I thought that was genius and fitting.
Yes.
Rory, it's really actually is I think Lima's a lot better than a lot of, let's say, UFC only fans would give him credit. He's got a lot of legit wins, but I'm going to go with McDonald. I think I'm more comfortable rating guys based on their UFC career, because it's a talent pool that I'm more familiar with. I can judge better, I think, where they're at. So
he knocked out Ben Saunders twice, so that tells you he can flatten a UFC journeyman.
Yeah. But McDonald's more than UFC journeyman. He's legit top.
Well, sure, but he beat Paul Daly and Lorenz Larkin handily.
Yeah, and he beat.
So what's the reach advantage, though? That's where I think McDonald has the edge. Is he's taller and has the reach.
I found the reach event. What did you look? Don't you have the Wikipedia page up? You can.
I'm looking. No, Lima's taller. How is Roy McDonald only 6 feet tall? I thought he was like 6'2".
He's 6 feet, 170 pounds. I mean, you're talking about Luke Rockhold, 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah, well, Lima's 6'1". So Lima's If you pick McDonald, I'll pick Lima. How about that?
Okay, fair enough. This will be the okay.
And this one I'll remember.
This is what wuss bets.
I'm even calling my shot. I'm saying home run right field. No, I'm saying knockout third round.
With what, though? Leg?
With the combination.
Oh, the combination. I'm going to say Rory ends up dominating decision.
Dominating decision?
Yeah, it starts off good, but by the third round, he takes over for the last 3 rounds. Maybe. Well,
we'll see. We'll find out Saturday night on the Paramount Network, no less. So call your cable provider if you don't have it. And now the main event. Jackson versus Chael Used Up Washcloth Sonnen. Yeah. I can't believe either of these guys are still fighting. I mean, we got a 39-year-old and a 40-year-old.
MMA has one of the saddest fan bases that they love watching their old legends keep going at it. I mean, you don't see this.
Well, it's just because people remember these guys.
Yeah. But it's funny is I kind of care about this only because if this wasn't part of that Grand Prix tournament, which is a joke to begin with, but because it's part of the Grand Prix tournament, I'm kind of care about it. They've got me drawn into these freak show fights for the tournament. I normally hate the Bellator old man freak show fights.
But now it's in a context.
Yeah, it's got a context of like, this is like reminds me of the Super Hulk tournament or the open weight tournaments, the old Pride days.
It sort of reminded me of Yama pit fighting, but yeah. Let's see. Do you have a pick? Man, both these guys can let you down.
I just think Chael is so completely done. And
Chael's more done than Rampage?
Yeah, I mean, Chael beat Vanderlei, who couldn't stop the takedown.
But Vanderlei isn't the axe murderer anymore. He's more like the hedge clipper, you know, wounder or something.
No longer Texas Chainsaw Massacre Vanderlei. This is the cheap ripoff that came out years later. You know, like
this is like Halloween 3, where they didn't even have Michael Myers in it. That's that Vanderlei.
Yeah, that weird Sam Hain shit. What the hell's that about? I'm still trying to figure that movie out.
It could have been a fun movie on its own, like sort of if it had been Phantasm 3.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Phantasm fan. As much as I like
but still, Halloween 3 sucked. So, you know, I mean,
I like the concept of Halloween 3, that the idea was that every year they do a different Halloween story, but you can't,
Yeah. Now, meanwhile, let Friday the 13th walk away with the masked serial killer franchise. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. I can go on forever about Halloween because I love that movie, actually.
The first one. And the second one, too, was
Black Christmas, too, which inspired Halloween. That's a good one, too. And you were a little young. The original Black Christmas from the 70s, not the piece of shit remake.
Yeah.
It shows you how interesting this fight is, though, that we've just went on a segue for 5 minutes onto old horror movies. So
yeah, well, this is an old horror movie. Yeah. I think both these cats are completely done. But I think Chael can still get the takedown and lay and prey on him.
I think Chael. I'm going to go Jackson just because I think Chael could do that, but I think he's more mentally checked out than any of the other fighters.
And even at his peak, he was second place Sonnen. So.
Yeah. I mean, how do you lose against Silva with a minute 30 left after
you got to dig deep. You got to dig deep. As Matt
takes a special talent to blow that one.
Yeah, I love Matt Lindland when he was cornering him in that. I knew going in he was going to lose in the 5th round. With friends like that. That old Team Quest team esprit de corps must have been really something.
Their level of morale there was, they walked in the gym just knowing how we're going to lose. Let's figure out.
I think they walked in the gym knowing more like, I mean, I don't think Dan Henderson and Randy, people weren't saying that about Dan and Randy. I mean,
well, they checked, remember their Team Quest moved out of Oregon after a while. Randy moved to the Team Couture, right?
But I'm talking about the original Team Quest of Matt, Dan, and Randy.
Yeah.
You know, it was just Chael that was, well, and Lindland to some extent too. All right, so we care. I mean, I'm going to be flipping back and forth and watching both fights.
Yeah, I will. I'll probably try to find this. I think I'm going to try to find this one at a bar instead of watching it at home, just so, because it reminds me of the Affliction day when Affliction went up against UFC with Silva.
But back then, people cared about MMA. What bar are you going to find that's running one fight, much less both?
Well, the good news would be less people there that I can ask them to turn one of the channels to the new Paramount Network. But I'll have to probably tell them what channel it is. I have to find it for them because they
I would bring your cable guide when you attempt that.
But that was one of the great nights in MMA history, when Fader went against Silva and Anderson Silva went up against Irving. That was awesome that night. That
was a magical night. Yeah, I was back in Austin visiting from DC where I lived at the time and watching that Third Base Sports Bar with a guy I thought was my friend, but it turns out he just wanted to sell me a house. So
that's those house sellers. That's what they'll do.
Yeah, realtors, man. Never trust a realtor. All right, so now we're moving on to UFC 220, which we will talk about the undercard, the complete package. Saturday night pay-per-view, but starts with 2 fights on Fight Pass. Then we've got 4 fights on Fox Sports 1. Then we've got a 5-fight pay-per-view. I got to say, going in knowing it was 2 title fights, I was thinking, hey, you know, this, and then looking at the card, I'm like, holy shit, they put 2 title fights on it and nothing else. So we'll run through this quickly. First up on Fight Pass, lightweight, Islam Makhachev versus Gleison Tibau. Is this his first fight back since his suspension, or?
Yeah, that's why I don't care. He's been around, loved the guy in the past, but
I never quite mustered up love. I mustered up familiarity, and
he was a nice familiar face in the UFC. You'd recognize the name. You know who you're.
Yeah, you knew. I knew he was doing stuff because of those enormous weight cuts. Like cuts 40 pounds to fight at welterweight, or lightweight. I mean,
Yeah, he shows up looking like a Marvel superhero character, like Ironclad, coming from the UFOs, ready to take on someone. There's no way this guy's not on something.
Yeah. So anyway, sadly, technology has caught up with him, and he had to get a DQ in his last fight, and so I don't care either. All right, now we've got featherweight Enrique Barzola versus Matt Bessette.
I don't care.
I don't care either. Sorry, fellas. All right, now we're moving on to the Fox Sports 1 card. Featherweight Dan Ige versus Julio Arce. Arce.
This is the Bellator undercard. This is just two local guys they signed on to put on the show, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, no offense, fellas, but yeah, we don't care. All right, flyweight Alexandre Pantoja versus Dustin Ortiz. Now, I've cared about Dustin in the past. Have I stopped caring about Dustin? Yeah, no, I still know who he is. So I guess I care, but he's I don't know, he falls in that kind of that middle ground that he hasn't separated himself from the pack to be worthwhile to fall. Yeah. I mean, he's not really moving ahead in the division like he's a challenger or anything. He's just sitting there. He's a gatekeeper at best.
Yeah, so I don't really.
In a division full of gatekeepers. Another dude has like got a streak going.
Does he?
Yeah, he's 2-0 in the UFC, and he hasn't lost since 2010. So
how many fights has he had in the UFC?
He's at 2.
Oh, that's still. This would be the fight would make me care if he looks good.
Yeah, if he can beat Dustin Ortiz, we'll care. Until then, we don't. Sorry, kid. Did you see my light switch? Eugene was freaked out by my light switch back there.
Oh wow, now I'm freaked out because you pointed it out. Now I can't. Now I won't stop looking at it.
It's living in the funhouse, man. All right.
Is that Jones in the background behind us, in your upper right, over your shoulder?
Brian Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Brian Jones. So.
Okay, that's gonna freak me out even more now. I'm haunted by that.
Yeah. See, and he's surrounded by demons, which represent the other 4 Rolling Stones.
Yeah, that's what I was guessing. That one looks like Mick, and that's Keith.
He was a sweet boy who found a bad company. That's the Brian Jones story. I'm sticking.
I was going on a Stones kick the other day, and it just finally hit me how much I didn't realize the difference between the American and the British albums in the mid '60s, and how Aftermath. Yeah, or Between the Buttons was the British album's okay, but the American album's the one that's the masterpiece because it has the extra songs on it.
And it took off the rockers off. There's 2 songs on there, that the British version that are like half-ass rockers, and the American version is like a folk rock album without them. And it's
Well, the other one, like with the Aftermath, is that they had Mother's Little Helpers on the British one, but the American one has Painted Black.
Yeah, which is better.
Yeah, which is better, but still, I'm a little disappointed that Mother's Little Helper was included, because that is a good song. It's just
it's a great song. Actually, the 65, 66 sessions make for a great what would be a double album, because it's got 19th Nervous Breakdown, Sitting on a Fence, Ride On Baby, a bunch of...
When you think about when they started doing their own music up until, let's say, Exile Main Street finish, I don't know if there's that's as good as the Beatles run, if you ask me. That's like...
Well... except for Satanic Majesties.
Yeah, but that has half that's good. Half of
that is really good, yeah. But it's like 2 different bands. It's like the Beggar's Banquet to Exile is a different thing than Aftermath.
So you and Ed Ward can get into this subject matter.
Yes, on our podcast, Let It Roll podcast.com, where I talk about rock history with Ed Ward.
So that's what it was it ends right before this period.
We'll get there. Fucking Ed won't talk about the second book until he publishes the book. It's like I'm trying to.
You yell at me, and now you just dropped the F-bomb.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, we're well into the show at this point, so not that YouTube cares anyway, or Vox for that matter. All right. So moving right along, welterweight Abdul Razak Alhassan versus Sabah Homasi.
What? Who?
Yeah, exactly. Welterweights Abdul Razak Alhassan versus Sabah Homasi.
I mean, I just don't know. The names are not. I'm usually very familiar with the names, even if I haven't remembered a lot of their fights. But I'm like, I'm drawing a blank on these guys.
And Hassan's had 3 UFC fights for
in the
UFC. He even won Fight of the Night in Belfast. So he's fought in Belfast, Stockholm. He's fought in the Third World 3 times. But a bump. Sorry, Detroit. Yeah, that's probably a racist joke. I think people can complain. USJWs out there can complain about me for that one.
Did these guys fight before?
These 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, at 218.
I remember the name.
He was knocked out by Alhassan.
That's right. I remember the name.
What the fuck? I don't care about this. This is really infuriating. They have some explanation for this? Fuck this crap.
Was there some? I don't. Anybody out? Was there a very interesting ending to it? Like it was like a call.
I don't know. I mean, tell me. You know, I'm reading the comments here on the thread. You know, there's 58 people watching this garbage. Like, tell us if there's a reason behind this, but I don't care. Sorry. All right, featherweight Kyle Bochniak versus Brandon Davis.
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't either. I mean, this card is garbage. All right, so now we move to the main card, which is going to be more expensive. I think they jacked the price by $5 because
what is the snip rule for antitrust? How much can you raise something without showing that you have a monopoly?
I don't know. They are getting into the point at which they're raising prices, so consumers are supposed to be protected here, but they don't have a monopoly. Remember, they have a monopsony.
No, that's on the fighter end. Monopoly would be the other end, but yeah, monopsony.
Yeah, they don't have a monopoly because, like, fans can watch Bellator, you know.
Yeah.
And fuck with this card, why wouldn't you? Yeah. All right, so bantamweight Thomas Almeida versus Rob Font.
This falls in that category I always have where it's not relevant enough for me to care. As much as I know the names, I'm familiar with the fighters. They're just they haven't separated themselves. They're not progressing anywhere.
No, I mean, Almeida lost his last fight. Now he's getting promoted to pay-per-view. And Rob Font's claim to fame is Eugene thinks his name's funny because Eugene knows what a font is. So, and both these guys are coming off a fucking loss, so now they're going to open a pay-per-view card. Give me a break. Fuck off. All right. No, we don't care. And nothing personal to the fighters. I'm blaming Endeavor here, not the fighters. All right. Lightweight John Villante versus Francimar Barroso.
This is a fight.
I know these guys.
This is again. I don't. Now I'm thinking about it. I don't care about this at all because.
No, Barroso's what? 38 years old. I mean,
he's done Jack and Gian Villante. He was a big prospect back in Strikeforce.
He wasn't a big prospect. He was a mediocre Strikeforce prospect.
When he went, signed with Strikeforce was a big deal. People had a lot of hype for him, and then he didn't do anything. And he hasn't done anything since. He's been stuck in the middle.
Who had hype for him? Matt Roth? I mean, well, come on.
I don't know who, maybe someone on SureDog when they rated their prospects.
When Luke Thomas get a hype? And Luke Thomas never gave a shit about him. I can tell you that right now. Have you seen the hymn to Luke Thomas that's on YouTube?
No, I haven't. Is it good?
It's hilarious. Some Norwegian guy who does bad song mashups wrote and performed it. So yeah, I don't give a shit about this fight, and I'm offended that it's on a pay-per-view. This isn't even a. I mean, this is like a Fox Sports 2 fight. Like. Right now we've got featherweight Calvin Kattar, who doesn't have a Wikipedia entry, and Shane Burgos. No, I don't give a fuck.
That's always a good sign when you don't have a Wikipedia page.
They want people. I mean, Burgos is 10-0, and he's 3-0 in the UFC. One TKO.
Okay, who did he beat in the UFC?
He beat Thiago Tractor, which is respectable, but decision. Then he knocked out Charles Rosa, and got fight of the night. So I remember that fight. That was a good fight. That was on UFC 210 in Buffalo. And then Godofredo Pepe, he decision. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'll be watching it, so we'll see Saturday night.
I just don't care. I mean, I'd probably be tuning into Bellator at this point, hoping that the Lima McDonald fight is on early.
Yes,
the timing is right that comes on before, and I can get one in before the other, or that Chandler's on or something. That I luck out and I get one of the other fights I want.
So, yeah. So now we come to the light heavyweight title fight, not interim, actual title, because John Jones is apparently Ted Bundy. Have you heard this? Daniel Cormier called him the Ted Bundy of the UFC. I think that Cormier felt like one of Ted Bundy's victims, but John Jones didn't have a iron bar and a cast that he cracked him from behind with. But
well, if he's Ted Bundy, right? What does that make John Jones? What serial killer would John Jones?
No. Cormier said Jones was Bundy.
No, I mean if Jones is Bundy, and Bundy's one of the all-time big serial killers of all time.
He's a terrifying guy. Supposedly he ran Florida death row like he was the mayor.
No, really? I never heard that part.
When a new inmate came to Florida death row, you were told you needed to bring your case file to Ted's office, which was he had the big cell in the corner.
I mean, Bundy did have an up on all the other.
He had a genius level IQ and supposedly was very physically powerful.
Yeah, and he knew law. well, I don't know if but he's very charismatic, and I'm sure he had the press and everything. But in general pop, he would have been torn apart. A guy that kills women like that is not going to survive.
Oh yeah, no, but I mean, amongst the monsters, you know, and even in general pop, that stuff's crap. If you're scary and you have money, you know, I mean, like the fucking Outlaws are a rape machine, and they rule the prison because they're scary. And I didn't mean to disrespect the Outlaws.
Yeah,
God knows. Let me just delete that.
Don't make. But my point is, if Jones is Bundy, that makes Cormier's got to be something like the Vienna Strangler or the Boston Strangler or Christopher Wilder.
The Boston Strangler was a mystery as to who did it. If Jones is Bundy,
they had some DNA testing. We don't know if he did all of it.
If Jones is Bundy, Cormier is the Green River Killer.
No,
basically anonymous. Put together a great. Excuse me, he didn't put together a great track record. I didn't say that. Put together a long track record of heinous.
But the Green River Killer was a more successful.
He got away with it longer, but I mean, he didn't have any style or panache.
Although that, you know, can I go one stupid rant about the Green? You know what? You ever read about those things? They never talk about. They always say he was a prostitute killer. To go, those weren't prostitutes. Those were children he was killing. Those were, you know. That's one thing that always drove me nuts when they were reporting on the serial killers. They'd always report would be like, some 15-year-old girl got murdered by the Green River Killer, and they'd say, oh, it was a prostitute. No, fuck that. That's a child that got killed.
Yeah, she was a runaway. Well, that's, you know, back in the day, pimps could get away with kidnapping a child, raping her, selling her body, and then get like, she would be considered a criminal once she'd committed an act of prostitution, and the pimp would get a slap on the wrist. Whereas if like you did that to a middle class girl, that would be child molesting and you could go to prison for hundreds of years. They're finally beginning to rectify that and treating pimps like the scum they are. But
that's why I'm a Travis Bickle fan.
Travis Bickle, yes. Although I don't think Bickle really had the solution. So anyway, Cormier versus Volkan Oezdemir. Time's up. Time is up. The guy is under indictment for felony assault?
Yes.
Is that? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, the UFC is really going to want to invest in that.
Yes. Right? I would say that Volkan is Brutos, Jerry Brutos, that lowest level serial killer. So I'm going to go with Cormier on this.
No, Volkan is not Jerry Brunos. He's like the guy that like, you came across a stack of serial killer paperbacks, and there was the guy that cut people's feet off, and you didn't remember his name, but it was gross.
Yeah, that's Jerry Brunos. He cut women's feet off.
See, that was Jerry Brunos. Wow, we're thinking about the same guy, and so you're right. You're right.
Exactly what it is. You can't remember the name. You just remember this guy was weird and kept a foot in his
awful.
Yeah. So that monetization is out the window today. That's for sure.
The monetization, it's the blind idiot god. That's all based on what you title your show. I mean, yeah, you know, unless you're Logan Paul, and then they don't care what you do, and they're going to monetize the shit out of it. All right, so, but can Volkan beat Cormier? No,
I don't think so. I mean, who knows? Cormier's at that age where maybe he'll start falling apart, but no, I give him a solid. You know, I'm not saying it's not a terrible title defense. I mean, there's who else you gonna fight?
But Cormier has the skill set to flatten this kid.
Yeah, Cormier's screwed though, because he lost to Jones twice, and Jones failed. You know, but he'll never. He's got this amazing run as a fighter, and he'll always be the second guy.
Yeah. So you know, I mean, sad. So we're picking Daniel Cormier, and we do care about this fight.
Yeah, that's surprising.
And I like Volkan well enough, and if I did compare him to. You compared him to who again? Jerry Brunos?
Brutos.
Brutos.
Yeah.
Not
the guy that fed the women the alligators, not Ball.
Now that guy had style, and he was a Texan.
Yeah, that's why you like him.
You see? I mean, that's a legend. Like, you know, you hear about a guy who owns a big diner and he feeds his waitresses to alligators. Like, that terrorized kids for generations. But
I got to tell you, Texas had some of the greats. I mean, you know, some of the creepy.
And we executed pretty much all of them.
I think
California
might be the two best. I mean, Chicago actually.
And Florida.
Chicago's in Florida. Those are the four.
Yeah, it's basically the same states that have good football recruiting.
Yeah, I think it goes hand in hand, probably.
Yeah, except that serial killing seems to be a lost art, thankfully. So. Anyway,
wait, which guy was the ex-NFL player that was the freeway killer? Randy Kraft? Was he the ex-football player?
No, it wasn't Randy Kraft.
Was that William Bonham, Randy Kraft? One of them was one of the
Was an
freeway
ex-NFL player?
Bernie,
One of the freeway killers was an ex-NFL
Well, there's
player.
a bunch of guys that are different freeway killers. There's like 4 guys that were known,
and they didn't work together.
No, they didn't. Well, they had partners, but not the same.
Not with each other.
So that was.
And supposedly Randy Kraft dissed William Bonin in prison.
Oh, did you hear about the card club they used to have? Those losers.
That was a Vanity Fair article, and it's allegedly Kraft denied having ever played cribbage with any of those guys. But yeah, it was the Sunset Strip killer, Douglas Clark, Randy Kraft, William Bonin,
Norris. Or was it Norris or Bittaker? One of the two.
It was Pliers Bittaker. Yes, like the 4 most horrible people on earth would play cribbage every day on California death row, and 3 of them are still alive on California death row. So that's California death row sucks. Anyway, now we come to the headlining, the championship heavyweight champion fight, Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou.
This is, I don't care. This is a terrible.
So we care.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. This is a good fight.
Who? Huh? I've never heard of these. These guys have foreign names. I don't know. No, we care about this. It's the fight. It's a classic. Dare I say, blue collar versus explosive?
I would.
Huh? Do I say it?
It's the classic striker versus an even tougher striker.
I see. How about the fireman versus the guy that the WME Endeavor is putting money behind?
Yeah, France is a great story. Homeless at one point. I mean, I love that. I mean, not that I love he's homeless, but it's a great.
Yeah, we made a video about it. I recommend everybody watch. In fact, I'm going to be putting it in every single Bloody Elbow post about this fight card, so everybody's going to get to watch it whether they want to or not. But I like this fight. I like both guys. I think skill set wise, Miocic is more well rounded. Yeah,
no, I agree. Stipe's got, I guess, more experience in these type of fights. He's coming off a longer weight. I mean, sometimes it's great to have a quick turnaround, but I don't know if a quick turnaround when you need to come up with a game plan is good. And of course, maybe that's Francis.
Who's coaching Ngannou anyway?
He's training out of the UFC training center. I don't know who his coach is, to tell you the truth, but he shows up there all the time.
Yeah, Ari Emanuel is giving him the inside scoop. I mean, let's face it, Ngannou has been feasting on washed up fighters. Like,
I mean, he's looked great, but I don't have faith in the chin of Arlovsky and Overeem, and those guys are always one punch away from going out.
Yeah, and what a punch it was.
Awesome, but still, yeah.
Yeah, now Stipe is a whole different ball game, and I think that they are fucking themselves by feeding Ngannou to him so quickly if they have big plans for Ngannou, which I believe they do. So
I don't have a problem with that. They have no one else. They're striking when the fire's hot. He had a big knockout. I mean, at this point, I should go off on some Oscar Derlinger tangent for Eugene to get the Nazi reference in, but I have nothing to work with.
Derlevanger, the Derlevanger Battalion, worst Nazi ever.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah, maybe the Butcher of Prague, the guy who actually gave the order. What's that guy's name?
Oh, I can't remember the name, but I know who you're talking about. Well, I mean,
he was probably the worst Nazi.
Well, Mengele and stuff like that too, but the Derlinger.
Mengele was not. Mengele was horrible. Don't get me wrong, but he's like Jeffrey Dahmer. He's not scary. If you're not helpless, I could beat up Mengele.
Well, I mean, I didn't find the Derlinger squad, the brigade, scary like
Reinhard Heydrich. He was the worst Nazi ever.
Yeah, Heydrich. That guy. Oh yeah, that guy. There's a great movie. What's it? The Hangman Also Dies or something by Fritz Lang about the assassination of him. It's not great, but it's pretty good. But it's made during the war, so it's a great propaganda piece.
Wow, that sounds fun. Yeah, I'd like to celebrate the death of.
They were losers. That's what made them so kind of scary. They're like it's like.
Well, the Derlevanger Battalion wasn't scary against like an actual combat unit.
Yeah, they got their ass kicked in combat.
Oh yeah, but if they were fighting like partisans who were like mailmen that had got guns in Warsaw or whatever, then yeah, they were pretty deadly. Or women and children, their specialty.
Well, it's straight out of like the Joker or something. Like they gave him all the prisoners and all the mentally ill rapists and murderers and serial killers.
They let him go to the prisons and pick like an all-star team. Yeah, that's
on the insane asylums. He dragged out all the worst freaking guys. Oh, yeah, like sleeping with dead animals. Perfect. You're in the squad. Let's go.
yeah, Derlevanger. And the movie Come See. Is it Come and See?
Come and See.
Yeah, you got to see that. That's an excellent movie.
The book Bloodland. Bloodlands?
The
Bloodlands.
Timothy Snyder's book Bloodlands, also excellent. In fact, there's also Intrigue, the show Dell Winston and Eugene did it, and I did about the Derlevanger Battalion and Bloodlands. So
I vaguely remember that.
yeah,
Alexi told me to watch it, and I missed it. I didn't remember when it came out. So I missed it.
Well, it was years ago. So anyway, so we're both picking Stipe. Is that what's happening?
Yeah. No, I'm picking Ngannou.
You're picking Ngannou. Yeah, all right, now we got some action. Are you picking a knockout?
I want to sucker you in the Stipe pick. Yeah, I'm gonna pick. It's gonna be one of those fluke UFC heavyweight first round knockouts. He's gonna catch him.
First round knockout. Now it's gonna be a third round slow beating. Ngannou's gonna gas out, be cornered, be worn down. That blue collar work ethic's gonna shine, and
he's gonna show me his lunch pail. Take it to.
Exactly. Tom Petty's gonna be playing. Just the whole arena is gonna be singing "Don't Back Down" or. That's somebody else. What's Miocic's fight song anyway?
I don't know what it is actually. It's got it. You think you'd play with the Fireman thing? That there'd be some sort of, like Kiss
at the Firehouse by Kiss.
Yeah, yeah. The Hotter Than Hell. I thought it was Kiss, but
Hotter Than Hell even. Yeah. I don't think anybody likes Kiss anymore. But
well, a good reason probably.
Hey, everybody in third grade loved Kiss.
I still like their. You put on, Destroyer or something.
Detroit Rock City.
Yeah. There's a lot of songs I like. Those are good. Those are good, catchy tunes. But holy crap, talk about a sellout band on every level. Like their whole band. Like, well, let's make toys.
That was the plan. It wasn't. It wasn't a betrayal of what they stood for. That was what they stood for.
People will mock the Monkees and shit. Like these guys are 10 times more sellouts than the Monkees.
Well, Kiss actually put themselves together though, unlike the Monkees, who were made in a lab by Alden Music.
But I heard that there was Peter Criss and Ace Frehley got an argument over
who sucked whose dick first.
Yeah. And I wonder if that's the reason Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons got him out of the band, kicked him out of the band.
No, they kicked him out because, and they didn't kick him out. Ace Frehley, which one quit first? Peter Criss quit first.
But Ace Frehley got kind of pushed. Like he was.
Well, he was so drunk. I mean, he was such a drunk that he just wasn't.
I got a weird feeling that Ace and Paul resented that he was the most talented guy. And Gene and Paul resented he was by far.
Gene and Paul resented that Ace was the most talented guy. I don't think so. I mean, he wasn't that good a songwriter. I don't know. Yeah. He wrote some classics like Cold Gin.
His cover of New York City.
His solo album was the best before.
Oh, by far. The only one worth getting.
Peter Criss is worst by miles. And Gene's was really bad too. Gene went off brand on that and went like Miocic-y. But that's neither here nor there. Miocic, Ngannou. I'm picking Miocic. You're picking Ngannou. So that's our thing, and we'll be back. UFC on Fox next weekend. Jacare versus Brunson 2
on Fox.
On Fox, yes. So,
man alive, they're really getting ready to get a big Fox deal out of that.
Yeah, I mean they've scraped the pot. I mean, like if they had that fight on this card, we'd be talking about a pretty good pay-per-view. You know,
3 solid fights on the main event card.
I mean, Bobby Green, Eric Koch, I'd like to see that. Dennis Bermudez, Andre Fili. I mean, they're just overextended.
This is a boxing. This is 100% a boxing card. Well, I'll tell you, this is even worse than a boxing card because as much as people talk about boxing cards only have a main event, usually on a pay-per-view, the undercard are really kind of talented prospects that they're trying to set up for future, HBO.
Yeah, I feel like Joe Silva had a plan. Yes, these are drugs, by the way. Yeah. Had a plan for what, and these guys, they have favored nations, basically. Like they've got a hard on for Ngannou, and the rest of the shit they're just slapping together because,
Yeah, they've given up the tournament mode that Silva, you could tell at a tournament. Everybody had to fight in a position. And it was partly a whole effort to keep guys from having negotiating leverage because only one guy could be the top and everybody else be fighting to get a chance to be the top.
Yeah.
So
but
that's, we can get rid of you at any time. But now it's like the shit's all over I don't know what the board is in the room that they're looking at now.
They don't give it. I don't know what Sean Selby's doing, but anyway. So people are mad about the off-topic conversations. They're saying no Eugene boo. So I guess we got to wrap it up. So
well, fuck those guys.
Yeah. Anyway, but next week Eugene and I will be back for the Fox Care Don't Care preview, unless Eugene has some scheduling difficulty, in which case hopefully you'll be willing to step in. Follow us on Twitter at KidNate, at Hey Not the Face, which is John S. Nash. Read us at bloodyelbow.com, although I haven't written anything on bloodyelbow.com in years. Have you?
I've got a couple articles coming up very shortly.
Okay, good. And I hope you're researching that big bombshell you're working on.
I've been working on that.
Good. I hope that comes along because it's big. It's big, people. Nash is about to blow the lid right off this sucker. All right.
I'm gonna put the end of the sport. I'm trying to kill this
sport killers. That's yes. It's not CTE that's going to kill the sport. It's Bloody Elbow. Yeah. And the vivisection will be on in a few hours with Zane and Connor, and then we'll have the 6th round Saturday night. So yeah. And
just leave the channel on all day. That's all you got to just let it run while you're at work.
Just watch MMA Nation, and then we'll have, sadly, Knuckle Up. It was Ozzy that forced Eugene to remove Knuckle Up, not Vox, not me. We would love to have Knuckle Up still on the network, but you can watch the show Stomper on Sunday night, and it'll probably be appearing on Bloody Elbow. So keep an eye out for that.
And keep an eye out for Pain Chronicles. I'm going to send you an episode very shortly.
All right, and I'm going to work on the script for the next episode. So we're beavering away on the Pain Chronicles, and adios MMA aficionado. Thanks, John. We'll see you next time.